Hey guys, Raya here. Every month I get my nails done, and since I have a bad habit of picking at my cuticles until they bleed, I get acrylics to dull the nail edge. But since that can get pretty expensive, and I've always been interested in the skill, I decided to get some supplies to do it myself. Watch as I give it a try. Here's a rundown of everything I purchased. First was this acrylic nail kit. It came with this small glass, some nail form templates, slightly opaque false nail tips, a nail buffer, clear false nail tips, a nail file, super glue, 3 brushes, primer, clear powder, white powder, and pink powder, and then the monomer acrylic nail liquid. Then I got a nail drill kit. The drill was this pretty green color. It came with the drill, charging cord, grinding heads, polishing tips, extra sanding pads, a cap to cover the drill when in use, and a dust brush. The last package was a UV lamp and 33 different polish colors. And then it also came with cuticle oil, a dust brush, files, a cuticle fork and cuticle pusher, nail cleaners, nail separators, French tip guides, gold stickers, stripe tape, nail gems, nail clippers, and a horn brush. My Halloween nails were pretty grown out at this point, so this was a long time coming. I started by putting a sanding cap on the head and sanding away the old polish. All the footage is sped up, but I was going pretty slow at first, since this was my first time doing anything with the drill. It required quite a bit of pressure or repeated passes to actually get all the polish off. I tried to be really careful around the edges. Then I used the cuticle pusher to clean things up a bit. After that, I used a pointy tip to get the rest of the cuticle off the nail. I also used the cuticle fork to get off some of the extra pieces. I'm not great at using it, so I always end up taking up a bit too much live skin and cutting myself a little bit. Then I switched back to the sanding tip and cleaned up the cuticles some more, as well as buffing the new nail to prep it for the acrylic. I also smoothed the old acrylic edge a bit and took off any remaining polish. I used the same sanding tip to shorten the nails since they were way longer than I like. This was a tricky step, since it required so much pressure and good angles to comfortably shorten them. I tried to make sure to give them the general shape I wanted as well. I brushed off the dust and smoothed out any rough edges. Then I put the primer on the new nail. Whenever they do this at the salon, they usually just put a small dab, but I wanted to give my nails the best chance of success, so I liberally coated all the new nail. Then it was time to try the acrylic itself. I poured the monomer into the glass and opened the clear acrylic powder. I stirred it a bit and then practiced getting beads of the right consistency, which I didn't record. It took a few tries, but I finally got to the right point and started laying it on the nail. It was a bit tricky to form it quickly, it was setting really fast. It was also tricky to make sure it wasn't too thick around the edges. Once all the nails were dry, I used a couple different tips to shape the nails, making sure they were a bit thinner on the edges and the cuticle, and getting the extra bits off the skin, and then smoothing the whole nail to the right shape. Then I filed the nails to get the tip to the right shape and length and straightened the sides. I brushed off the dust and applied the base coat. The UV light was really weak, so I had to do a few passes to dry the nails. Then I did brown polish for a fall/Thanksgiving vibe. It took even more time under the lamp to dry the color polish. I did 2 coats for coverage. I've always been really bad at applying nail polish cleanly, and I was so focused on the process that I didn't clean the skin off before putting it under the lamp to cure, so I ended up having to work really hard with the acetone to get the polish off the skin. Once it was dry, I did the glossy top coat. They turned out alright in the end, I think, especially from a distance. Obviously, I then repeated the whole process on my right hand. I did the whole left hand first, since I didn't want to worry about my right hand having polish or anything while I was working. It was trickier to use my non-dominant hand to do such small work, so it was slower going on this hand, but it was also easier as a process since I had already done all the steps on my other hand. 2 of my nails had also separated a bit from the grow out, so I had to be careful when sanding them. I had to be careful again when sanding down the length due to the nails with separation or chunks missing, but I just used my thumb to hold down the nail to keep it all good. I made a fundamental mistake of not applying primer on my right hand, so we'll see how long these nails last. It was more difficult to apply the acrylic to the nails on my right hand, since my left hand isn't as good at fine motor skills. I had to do quite a bit more shaping of the nails on this hand, since the acrylic wasn't applied as smoothly. I applied the brown polish a lot more messily on this hand, and I just cleaned up the skin right away with the acetone. I do think I generally prefer doing it that way, but I'll still try to be more careful in the future. And here's the final product. You can tell I went overboard on some of the cuticles, and the edges aren't incredibly well done, but I'm pretty proud of my first effort. I'll most likely still go to a professional for nails for events, but I'll probably do it myself more often in the future, since I enjoyed the process. Thanks for watching!